You can see here I've got the scooter out of the crate. I've got all the parts unpackaged and laid out. Got my little stool under here, which you really don't need, but just to make sure nothing too bad can happen while you're working on it. There's really a couple of ways you can proceed from this point. You can put the wheel on, charge the battery, throw all the body panels and whatnot on, fire it up, and ride away hopefully. Or you can do what I'm going to do here. A lot of people would call it a PDI, that's a post-delivery inspection. Take some more body panels off, go over wiring, go over everything basically, change the fluids. Try to do it really the right way. In my opinion, if you do that, it takes a lot more time now than just throwing the parts on, but it may save you some trouble and may save you some headaches down the road. So I'm going to try to show you what I call the right way to do this. I'm going to start out with prepping the battery. So you just open up the box. Should have a bag with some little hardware for the battery. Don't want to lose that. Instructions. Got electrolyte here. The battery itself. Take this little tag off the battery. And then you've got a sticker across the top, kind of a foil sticker. You can remove that. Should just peel off. Got your electrolyte in a bag here. You need to open this up. Of course, you want to be careful working with this. This is acid. You should probably actually wear gloves and eye protection. So you've got your electrolyte. He's also got a little cap here. Don't lose the cap. You can see hopefully on the electrolyte there's a little foil covering on each of the individual little cylinders here. And they'll match up with all the circles here, all the holes in the top of the battery. So what you do is flip this upside down. Make sure you've got it all lined up and then pop them all into place. You should see they'll start to bubble, and you're just going to have to give them a little while and let all that fluid drain out into the battery. Once all the electrolyte drains, you want to carefully pop this out. Don't get anything on yourself. Throw this away. Take this cap and apply it to the top of the battery here. Of course, you line all these up in little holes and just press it down into place. You want to make sure you get that all the way pressed down so you seal the battery off. Now you just let the battery sit, give it at least an hour. The electrolyte will actually start to charge the battery on its own. And then a little later, after about an hour, you want to hook it up to a battery tender or some kind of float charger and let it sit on the float charger until it turns green, or however it notifies you that the battery is fully charged. Now I'm going to install the front wheel and tire. So of course you'll need the wheel and tire. This little spacer that should have been on the front axle when it was attached to the crate. Front axle bolt. And you should be able to find a nut that fits onto this axle bolt here in the little bag of parts that they supply. The first thing you'll want to do is remove this little plastic piece that holds the brake pads open. Should just pull out and you can discard that. Then you want to take this spacer and put it right here in this little seal. You should see that your wheel has two slots here, and your speedometer cable has a little metal piece inside with two tabs. Those tabs are going to line up with the slots in the wheel. Also, you've kind of got little cutouts on the plastic part of the speedometer cable, and they're going to line up with a tab here on the back of the fork. So line the tabs up on the wheel with the slots on the wheel with the tabs on the speedometer cable. Pop that into place. Then you can rotate that up and line the tab on the fork up with the right spot on the speedometer cable, the plastic casing. And then you should be able to start popping your axle through here. Once you get the axle through, put a little blue Loctite thread locker on the threads of the axle, and then start threading the nut on. Should be a 14mm wrench, ratchet, socket, whatever. For this side, on the other side, use a 12mm wrench to tighten that up. Now you want to get that pretty snug. As you can see, it should spin easily. Shouldn't be hearing your brake pads contacting the rotor. Shouldn't be stopping too fast. Good motion. As long as you've got good motion, I go ahead and move this little stool that I've had under here out of the way. Now take a 12mm wrench and check this brake hose bolt here. Make sure that's tight. Then what I like to do is use a 10mm socket and remove these bolts here that are holding the brake caliper on one at a time. Make sure you don't lose any of the washers. Apply a little bit of Loctite. Reinstall. Repeat that for both bolts here, and then do all the nuts and bolts on your brake rotor. Make sure you get them good and tight when you reinstall them. The brake rotor bolts are going to use a 6mm Allen head on this side. The other side, the nut is going to be a 12mm X head. Do them one at a time, and then you can just rotate your wheel here so you can access each one. The next thing I'm going to do is install this little leg here that'll bolt onto the center stand. So you'll need 2 8mm nuts and bolts out of your little hardware kit. Slide the leg into place here. You should see the holes in it line up with the holes in the center stand. Just slide the bolts through. Once I get both of them through, I put a little Loctite on the other side and then install the nuts. You'll need a 10mm on this side, 12mm on the other side.